things first, I am now in a relationship with Kristen Stewart's nipple, and it's going well. Thank you for asking. We're very happy together. Second of all, Holy Mother of God, Rose Glass, you crazy son of a lady. You've done it again. This film has changed my life forever, irrevocably, iridescently. What? And given me a newfound appreciation for muscles on a woman. Has anybody missed me? My moon sign is Leo, and you know, that means I like attention and reassurance. Female attention and reassurance, to be clear. I literally made this channel for female attention. The thing is, I knew from the trailer that this film was going to be good, but I was not expecting it to quite literally blow my mind. Lou's mullet, chef's kiss. Lou Senior's skullet, chef's kiss. All the variations of mullets, chef's kiss. Katie O'Brien's gun show and general physique, chef's kiss. And an actual kiss from me with consent and in my dreams. Rose Glass's elevated cinematic artistry, chef's kiss. The acting, the dialogue, the direction, the beautiful aesthetic cocktail of surrealism, gritty reality and the retro. I'll have what she's having. The entire cast and crew who worked to make this film happen, chef's kiss and thank you for your service. Kristen Stewart is in her season 3 Shane McClutchan era, and I want to make eye contact with her. I want her to make me an omelette in the morning. I mean, I'm vegan, but I don't have to be. Ladies, I don't have to be. Is it possible for lesbians to be vegan? Because, I mean, I guess nobody gets hurt in that process, mostly. I've heard it actually gives you throat cancer, but at least she died doing what she loved. Oh my god, I've got a beard. I'm wise. I'm wise. I have a beard and I'm wise. I have a beard because I'm a lesbian. No. Katie O'Brien, so pretty and yet so handsome. I didn't know I needed a woman with muscles in my life, but I do. If you have muscles, please slide into my DMs. Thank you and good night. Every day I wake up and choose to embarrass myself online, and then I complain that people give me weird looks. Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I'm just going to be reviewing the masterpiece that is Love Lies Bleeding. You can already tell this is going to be a glowing review, right? If you're not familiar with Love Lies Bleeding, it's about Lou, a reclusive gym manager who falls hard for Jackie, an ambitious bodybuilder who's heading to Las Vegas to pursue her dream. Their love soon leads to violence as they get pulled deep into the web of Lou's criminal family. As a heads up, this video will contain spoilers, so if you've not seen the film, you have been warned. So let's get into it. Oh my god, where do I begin? Where do I begin? From the moment this film began, I knew it was going to be special. The whole production from beginning to end is so incredibly atmospheric and visually rich. It's a beautiful blend of retro, surrealism and gritty authenticity, complemented by a very cool soundtrack. I wish I had a better word than cool, but it's cool, it's vibes, it's energy. Your Honor, it was the vibes. The film is also very impressive on a technical level. The direction, the cinematography and the editing all work to capture and convey tension, characterization and tone in every single scene. Love Lies Bleeding is very much a production where you have to pay attention to what's happening on screen because the narrative and the characters unfold visually. It shows you what's happening and why, it doesn't tell. I mean, this is a film which has been artistically curated and carefully choreographed in every single area. One moment in the film which really underscores this is when Daisy unexpectedly throws up in front of Lou, and then she's shot by Jackie unexpectedly and her blood is just expelled all over Lou. And I thought it was such an interesting utilization and visual parallel of the expulsion of bodily fluids. Oh, it was so cool. It was just moments like that which really kind of keep you on your toes and that make the film so visually impressive. I think people who are really passionate about film as an art form will especially love this production because of the amount of artistic care that has gone into it. It's also definitely taken inspiration from another artistically interesting film such as Mulholland Drive. Rose Glass actually has spoken about this in an interview, but even before she'd said that she'd taken inspiration from Mulholland Drive, in my opinion, the bodybuilding competition in Vegas had a very kind of Lynchian feel to it. And of course there's the whole nod to Winkies, which... yeah. But at the same time, I think Love Lies Bleeding stands on its own as a production, and it doesn't feel like a copy of or a rip-off of anything else. It's not trying to be a David Lynch film, it's simply giving an appreciative nod. Not only is Love Lies Bleeding technically and artistically impressive, but it's also packed with metaphors and deeper meanings carefully threaded into its visual tapestry. There's an overarching theme of addiction and obsession throughout the film, which parallels the addictive nature of drugs and romantic relationships. Rose Glass has thoughtfully utilised imagery and symbolism to convey this parallel. For example, Jackie begins to use steroids when she first meets Lou, and this develops into an addiction and unhealthy obsession which corresponds with her romantic feelings. We watch as her life spirals out of control as a result of this, and there's a real significance with Jackie physically vomiting Lou out of her system at the bodybuilding contest in Vegas. It's in this moment that she really has to face up to the consequences of her unhealthy relationship to both Lou and steroids. And Jackie's transformation into a giant woman towards the end of the film, all I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman, is also significant because it's symbolic of the fact that she has finally transformed and found her own inner strength and motivation without the use of steroids. The scene where she protects Lou from her father after her transformation sits in stark contrast to her earlier uncontrolled rage session against JJ when she was abusing steroids. There's also a very interesting theme with Lou Sr. and his relationship to animals. We see the way that he takes an interest in creatures and has quite a caring nature towards them. That is until he's crossed, and then we see how he physically devours one of these creatures. And this is symbolic of how he is capable of destroying the things that he cares for, which is of course a reflection on the relationship he has with his daughter. So even the more surreal or silly moments in this film have a lot of meaning and thoughtful messaging behind them. I have to say, I think I enjoyed this film on a much more superficial level and just from an entertainment perspective than I did for its metaphors and its messaging. That might just be me, but hey. At first I wasn't really sure how I felt about the more surrealist elements in the film, because it takes away from the gravity of the production almost. But then again, it was also nice to just have some relief from the heavier aspects of the film, and I think ultimately I appreciated the change in tone. But yes, people will definitely have different opinions on the surrealist aspect of this film for sure. Alongside the element of surrealism, there's also a real gritty authenticity to Love Lies Bleeding. And one of the things I love the most about this film is I felt like I was watching real people. Real women in particular, not women who were performing for the male gaze or who were existing for the purpose of furthering somebody else's characterization. Jackie was so refreshing as a female character, not just because of her physical strength, but because she was portrayed in a way which is signature to a lot of male characters that I've seen over the years. She's primal, messy, powerful, unapologetically sexual, and learning how to overcome unhealthy behaviors. And seeing all of this applied to a female character who was humanized rather than demonized just felt like a breath of fresh air. To be honest though, every single character in this film was so interesting and engaging to watch, and I wanted to know so much more about them. I think Lou as a character and her relationship with her father is an interesting discussion point, because all throughout the film, Lou is seen as the quote-unquote good guy or a victim of her father, but we see by the end of the film that she is willing to do immoral things by her own accord, to either protect herself or the people that she loves. So in a lot of ways, what her father says is true in that they are one and the same. Rose and Veronica really know how to write interesting characters. It's just chef's kiss. The whole script is chef's kiss, honestly. It's a real kiss. It's a kiss from me to them with consent and respect. There's also some really fun sapphic media connections with the cast in this film. You have Jenna Malone, who was in Love Song, and Anna Baryshnikov, who was in Dickinson. So yeah, and Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien. I mean, it's delicious. So those are fun connections, you know. Okay, so on to everybody's favourite subject, lesbianism. Alright, the relationship between Jackie and Lou. Wow. Just, oh my god, wow. I thought Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien had really good chemistry, but what I like the most about their connection is you can tell that they really see each other. And not only was there a lot of physical attraction between the two characters, and maybe the actors as well, just not my business, but you know. There was a palpable emotional connection there too. I mean, their first kiss gave me butterflies. Yes, their relationship is very physical, and I enjoyed it for professional reviewing reasons, but there's also a softer emotional intimacy between them two, which is gorgeous to watch and a nice respite from all of the chaos. For example, their I love you scene was very much kind of brimming with this quiet emotional intimacy, which kind of sat in stark contrast to, you know, the more sexual or violent aspects of their relationship. It ticked all the boxes. I have seen some criticism of the love scenes in relation to them being unnecessary or exploitative, but I think there's two ways to look at it. On the one hand, lesbian couples don't spend all their time knitting cottagecore patterns and making polite eye contact, and I don't see an issue in portraying an active relationship between two women, as long as it's done in an intelligent way and preferably through a female lens for obvious reasons. And if anything, I think the love scenes in Love Lies Bleeding are actually refreshing. On the other hand, I can understand the argument that love scenes can seem gratuitous if they go beyond what is necessary for the story, or they don't have a deeper meaning. And because lesbianism has been so exploited in various forms of media for the benefit of everyone else except actual lesbians, I can understand the wariness when it comes to having quite a few love scenes in a lesbian film. But I don't personally think that the love scenes in Love Lies Bleeding cross the line into salacious shock value territory. And not that the love scenes in this film really need to be justified, but they were a visual representation of the raw obsession and high that was happening between Lou and Jackie. And this film is also an adult production. If you went into it expecting it to be PG-13, that's kind of on you. There was no false advertising with this film. I will say, one of the love scenes did remind me of the SNL Totino sketch, but I still enjoyed it professionally. In terms of lesbian representation and Love Lies Bleeding being a piece of lesbian cinema, are Jackie and Lou the healthiest example of a lesbian relationship? No, but then this film is not about healthy people and healthy relationships. That's the whole point. It's about people navigating unhealthy obsession and addiction. And that aspect of the characters has nothing to do with their sexuality. That's the key difference between this production and lesbian productions of old, which suggested there was a direct link between immorality and lesbianism. In Love Lies Bleeding, almost all of the characters are flawed or morally ambiguous. The lesbians are as awful as everybody else. That's true equality. I think it's important that the production of lesbian cinema isn't creatively restrained by the burden of ultra-positive representation. That doesn't mean I support obviously reductive, offensive, or salacious productions. I really don't. But I think we're past the point of having to consistently portray lesbians and lesbian relationships as strictly sunshine and rainbows, and shun anything that deviates from that for the fear that it will reflect badly on us as a community. I think there's enough lesbian media out there, in terms of the Western world at least, that we can afford to creatively expand our horizons a bit more. Which is a privilege, I know, but that's just my 2 cents. And all of that aside, Love Lies Bleeding is just a really entertaining and unique piece of lesbian cinema. In fact, it's just a really entertaining and unique piece of cinema in general, which we are really lucky to have. And ultimately, it's one where the morally ambiguous lesbian couple ride off into the sunset at the end, which is my own personal brand of heroin. I don't really have any criticisms for this film at all, except perhaps I think at some points it did feel a little bit loose in terms of structure or pacing, and I was left wanting so much more from the characters and the story than we were given. The thing is, there's so much happening in this film. There's domestic violence, there's murder, there's family dynamics, there's a romantic relationship, and there's drug abuse. And I think maybe it would have benefited from unfolding all of these different storylines alongside each other at more of a balanced pace, maybe, rather than just kind of going from one thing to the other. It kind of just felt like it went from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, almost like it was 2 different films happening at once at some points. But I understand that all of my criticisms about the film are related to time, which the film did not have to give. And really, I feel like this film should have been 2.5 hours long. Usually I kind of prefer shorter films, but this film was so good, and I wanted to know so much more about these characters and what was happening, that I could have easily watched a 2.5 hour version of this film. So yeah, should have been longer because it was so good. That's my criticism. Overall, I love this film and I want to inject it into my veins. I will be watching it again and again on repeat for the rest of my life. And thank you, Rose Glass, for increasing my homosexuality. That's all. Okay guys, I'm curious to know what you all thought of this film. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!